Hi there and welcome to Bustthenet. Thank you for joining us on this show. This is a new show. It's called Glory England. It's going to be my excuse to get people on the show to join me on this journey. I will be the assistant manager. Yes, and all the guests will have to manage the English team onto Glory. And it's going to be a great chance for us to bring on board a whole slew of people who are going to be involved with this show. And we start off on our first episode with somebody who's from SI. His name is Nic Madden. He's the QA lead of the Match Engine and he works with Sports Interactive. Thank you for joining us today on the show, Nic.
Oh, you're welcome, David. Thank you for having me.
And how are you today?
Yeah, I'm fantastic. Just finished a hard day's work in Graft at SI Towers. So yeah, it's been a very interesting day, and obviously I get to play and test Football Manager, and it's like been a dream job, and I still love it even today. So
your name may be familiar to like all the hardcore players, right? Like me, those guys who've been playing for a long time, and those guys who've been involved in some form of beta testing or in basically submitting in bugs. So what do you do exactly as a QA lead for SI?
It's a great question. So I have a team underneath me of QA testers, which I lead, and we test primarily the match engine itself. The AI behind the match engine also work very closely with the AI graphics lead, who also leads his team. So we work as a bit of a larger team because obviously the match is got the biggest focus of our players, and our players really want to get to grips, get in the match. So that's why we have a bit of a larger dedicated team. So I lead the testing of that team on a daily basis. Before I actually joined SI as a QA lead, I was a QA tester for, I crossed over between the match, but also transfers and contracts. So people on the forums might also know my name from there.
Okay, but what prompted you to join SI?
Well, I've been playing the games since the very, very early days. I was like 8 years old and managed to get a very early copy of Championship Manager, and I've loved the game ever since. It's helped me develop not only my understanding of football, but also like passions in different areas of the game of football. And I was actually traveling in New Zealand, and I was playing FM quite a lot. I was addicted to FM17, and my save was incredible. So when I was playing through my save, I had a long-term Swansea save that had been going about 5 years, and saw that there was an article from one of the SI employees on Kick Racism Out Football's site, and how they had got a role at Sports Interactive as a QA tester. So I just wanted to be part of the game. I wanted to be part of something that I love so dearly. So to apply for that role, to me, was a great chance, and I jumped back on a plane to England and came back home in order to try and get the role at SI. So I'm very fortunate in that way.
What's the best? Okay, so it must have been quite a dream come true then. So what's the best thing that you like about your job?
I'd say the passion, working alongside people who love the game that you love and want to see it improve, and also we all work hard. We all have a common love for football and Football Manager. So instantly you build such a rapport with everybody in the office, because only that's what we love, and it's nice to engage with the fans and see their passion for the game and see that it mirrors mine. And I'm just fortunate enough that I get to have input on the game, and I'm just like everybody else on the forums, like who goes into the features suggestions and logs ideas. Like I fan through them because I think there's some really fantastic ideas in there, and the same as I have them same ideas, so I would log them myself. So it's about that, the passion for the game, but also just being part of its development and its growth.
So, and then with this passion, there must be some backstory about what was you doing before you joined SI.
I was actually a football coach. So I've been coaching football since the age of 15. I was helping out as a coach with a U11 side local town. And that then expanded to me doing coaching badges, going to university and studying football studies at Southampton Solent University, and graduating with a very good degree from there. We were the first year that actually had received 2 1s degrees. So that it was a really big challenge for the university course. It was growing, and we had links to soccer coaching schools in America. So I was in America for 5 years coaching and running coaching development programs and working with club teams out there. So those club teams are similar to academies out here. And that then took me over to New Zealand, where I was coaching out there for 2 years.
So the sort of chance to jump onto the SI game must have been really a bit hard to resist, because of, I mean, looking at your experience and everything that you've done, it must have been very hard to resist. But that you jumped in as a QA tester, and then you went on to become a QA match lead. So this match engine lead. So this must be a very tough job. I mean, what is it like right now, testing and looking out for bugs in the game, especially for the match engine? Can't be very easy, I bet.
Well, I guess no job is easy. So, you know, obviously, like, we are here because we love the game and because ultimately we want the game to develop. I'd say because of the passion that a lot of us have for the game, that probably makes work and motivation levels a lot easier, I would say, because ultimately we're working on something that we love and we want to grow. So we want to be there. We want to work on it. In the sense of the match engine itself, I think we're doing a really good job in terms of the simulation, and that's something that we really do strive towards, because we're not just a game anymore. We are a football product. We are what people look to. Just look at who's going to be the next target for Manchester United. Oh, he was really, really good on Football Manager. And so we're bigger in a scale and the scope, and it's not just a game, it is a simulation. And so I'd say it's the challenge in that is making the game as realistic as it can be. And that's where the new features come in. That's where the new games then evolve. Obviously, we evolved from a commentary only game to then a 3D match engine, because obviously it's that realism and it's that the challenge to make it as real as possible. But where it's at the moment, I'm so impressed to be part of it. It's one of my proudest achievements was to be the QA lead when we released the game of FM17, and I thought that the final patch itself really, really helped, and I took a lot of pride from the reaction from the forums about certain members of the forums that were really, really happy that the match engine itself didn't change. Now, obviously, you know, we're always going to have the challenge of where we need to make sure it's more realistic, more balanced, but ultimately it is also a simulation. So we do need to see how the goals will change between different countries. And that's one thing that I think that the match engine itself doesn't get that overall credit, in the sense that we have all of the nations that we support in game, and we have a number of different footballing cultures, whereas we need to then have that manifest itself in one match engine and one game. And credit to all of our researchers that we have across the world, who then input that data for players, for managers, for the referees, for their league, for their infrastructure, and then their nation, to be able to feed into the game. And I mean, that's the challenge, is making sure that that's all balanced to make it realistic. And I think a very good point in the sense of realism, and in the sense of how making it as balanced as it can be and realistic is, the difference in styles of football between England, between Germany, between Italy, those major nations. It's very noticeable in game when you are playing in those countries. Then the match engine does have a different side to it. In Germany, it's very more responsive towards goals. You will see a higher lot of goal levels because the Bundesliga itself is very attacking. And you'll see that in like lower divisions, how the attributes of the players may not necessarily be as up to scratch as those world-class elite talents, yet it still looks like football. Because ultimately, I go and watch lower league teams, and you see the football they're playing. They can play some good stuff at times. It's not just all hump it long and very direct. They can look to combine. They can look to play. So it's just having the challenge is having a match engine that does all of that. And I think we've got a great product there at the moment.
But balance. So you gotta this balancing act must be really hard because you gotta balance expectations. You gotta balance the realism. Then you've got a 3D engine, and then you've got a 2D engine, and then you've got a simulate all the animation going on in the game, and now we have the tactical creator. So it must be very challenging to make the tactical creator create those kind of balances in the game. Then,
well, yeah, it's definitely a challenge, but it's a nice challenge. It's about making formations look as realistic as they can and making sure that the instructions that the user can use are both realistic as to what happens as a real manager on the sideline, what they're saying to their players. And I think that helps, especially from my coaching background, as I can see, I'd say, different issues of where potentially things might break down, where play might break down, but also what great things that we do have, like those little subtle movements off the ball, those little subtle checks from players away from the ball to the ball. There's quite a few, sometimes very subtle animations that do go on that sometimes are unnoticed. I'm very obviously proud of part of my job that I get to go and see the motion capture itself. I've been able to be a motion capture actor. So we can see the animations and the animation set that we're building, and obviously between FM16 and FM17 there was a host of new animations that were put into the game, and it's really added that realism. There was better headers in the game. There was nice little flick-on headers, which hopefully you've spotted yourself. Yes. In FM17, little subtle differences, and obviously that's the challenge, is to keep up that momentum. Yeah. And to keep improving that, obviously. And the one thing that we have as a main challenge is time, because obviously we want to make sure we have the best game possible and the best simulation possible to put out for our fans.
And and right now we are going to have a chance to find out how this whole thing is going to work together, because you are managing England, and we're going to be going up against Malta, and we've got this English team in front of us. And I actually sent you the save earlier, so you had the chance of deciding who you want in your English team. And what is going to happen coming up is I'm actually the assistant manager, because you're going to have to be serving out a red card, right? So you're going to be sitting in the stands. I hope you've come dressed appropriately for this match.
I definitely have, Badger. I've got my England shirt on, but I also have some Scotland shorts on, because all my family is Scottish, but obviously my accent isn't. I was born in England, so I do cheer on England at an international tournament, but ultimately I am a Scotland fan first and foremost, because I'm also a Celtic fan. So it's my allegiances are divided, but I do want England to win this European fire against Malta. So I'm getting in the spirit of save.
Thank you very much. Okay, so you had some time with this team. You had a look at them, and you also come up with a set of tactics. So could you, because I'm going to be assistant manager on the day, So I need to understand how you set these tactics up. So could you explain to me what tactic you'll be using against Malta?
Yeah, of course. Firstly, I had a look at Malta. So not just the reports of what came through, but also what I wanted to do is get in the mind of. I'm a fan of the game as well. I'm a user. This is the stuff that I would do before even playing a game.
Okay.
Some people go to different levels. Me, I want to see first of all what the opposition is going to be playing like. So the scouting reports from the last game is that they were playing a 3-5-2 with wing backs.
Okay.
However, because this is a home match, I would expect, like for Malta, it's undecided whether they will play with their preferred formation or because obviously England are a big draw, a big team, we have obviously a higher reputation than Malta. They might look to be playing defensive against us. So their defensive formation is 4-1-3-1-1. So obviously they've got a DM, they're quite narrow. So I thought for the first tactic, so I've made 3 tactics. The first tactic that I will start with is just a 4-4-2. But I've gone with, I haven't gone with any wingers, despite the fact that if they're playing a narrow formation, then we could get around them. But obviously we have fullbacks that can provide width. But essentially as well, they could be playing a 3-5-2, which means I've tried to pick a wide midfielder and a wide playmaker that will sort of come inside and hopefully funnel that centre. So if we're up against 3 central midfielders in the narrow formation, we'll have players that are coming into the middle. And same with 3-5-2, they'll only have a wing back on the side. So we also do have 2 players on each side that could hopefully overload. And you also see that I've went with no instructions.
Yes, this is a first for me. You're the first person I've seen do this.
Well, what I love about the match engine is that you can do what you want. Like essentially, we don't really block the user from doing too much. Obviously, we try and make it as sensible and as realistic as it can. But what I want to show here and display is that the roles themselves, they have those player instructions set in them that can help aid the tactic. The same as I haven't added any additional player instructions to the players that we have because I want the tactic to play out with the mentality and the flexible shape that I've set and the tactic itself, and I want the roles to evolve. So I've gone with 2 strikers, 1 on support, 1 on attack, for example, because it's about the balance of duties that I'm trying to use. The same with a ball-playing defender, but also a defender on cover. So I want to make sure that I'm looking at those partnerships around the field, a ball-winning midfielder on defend with a box-to-box midfielder on support. I'm trying to look at the duties around the field, and that's more what I'm focusing on rather than the playing instructions itself. Because I want to make the game as simplistic as possible for the players. I want them to be playing their roles. And ultimately, I haven't been in the job long, so that the team spirit and the tactical mentality won't have grown as much.
Okay.
So I've got to take that into consideration.
What about?
And I also have 3 other formations as well.
What about the automatic roles? How will they work in the game?
So the automatic roles are tied to your mentality as well. So they will work like the role would work.
Uh-oh, you're breaking up.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, so apologies for that. Just had a little technical hitch.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all fine. This is a live stream. Things like this are going to happen. So if I'm understanding you correctly, right? When I tell people about automatic roles, I always tell people that whenever you use an automatic role, you have to understand it's going to be equal to the mentality of the tactical creator. So if your team mentality is standard, your automatic role will be standard.
Yeah. So exactly. So yeah, it changes with your tactic. So that I'm on standard, it's basically going to play exactly like a support fullback. But if I want to go to attacking, then they'll then play attacking. So it sort of also will save a little bit of the time for me in the match in going in and changing those duties myself. Because I don't always want my fullback to be attacking. I don't always want them to be defending. It does work hand in hand a little bit with the support, but it changes the mentality. The automatic role will change the mentality.
Then how,
the mentality
how
with your mentality itself.
So, but how will this play out with the shape then? Because you've chosen a very because we've got like a few shape settings. We've got highly structured, flexible, fluid, and fluid. How will flexible fit into this whole thing? Will you change your shape if you went on a higher mentality, or?
Well, with the game itself, we have scope where you can change mentality and team shape, and they will work hand in hand. Like, you can have a counter-attacking mentality, but it could also be fluid. So when you do get the ball, obviously you want your players to play. You want them to move. And same with, you could have a very attacking formation, an attacking mentality, but your team shape, it can be highly structured if you want it to be. It can be structured in the way that you want your attack. And that's what I like, that we give the user that freedom, because I feel like there's no, you should do this and you should do that. It's more, you can do this, you can do that. There are possibilities. Why don't you try it out? Why don't you experiment for yourself? And with the team shape and mentality, I've changed them across all three tactics as well.
I noticed that because we have a 4-1-4-1, where you're playing control fluid, using a halfback, dropping in with two wing backs on automatic role, who I assume will be doing whatever you want them to do with regards to mentality. And then you've got a 4-4-1-1 as well, which is playing counter structure, which is kind of interesting because you've got three different systems. And how will your 4-1-4-1 play out? If you were to look at it, think about your 4-1-4-1, how do you visualize the goals coming in this system?
I would expect the goals to hopefully come between the link between the attacking midfielder and the target man itself. So I went for a target man, so they will obviously get a lot of the ball, or they'll be looking to play into that target man. So it's about playing off that player. So I'm hoping the attacking midfielder, who's on an attack duty as well, will hopefully run beyond that player. But if not, we do have a winger on support, so hopefully they can come and support, as well as the box-to-box. So we're looking really, like, what I'm looking from that tactic is for someone to get beyond the target man, hopefully.
Okay, and how will you get goals in your 4-1-4-1?
For the 4-1-4-1, I'm looking for hopefully the players to keep the ball a lot better in that middle section, and hopefully go up the sides. I would say this is a more of a crossing tactic, in the sense that we will hopefully double up. This is in preparation for if they do play a 3-5-2.
Okay.
So obviously we do want to overload the sides. So I'm hoping that they will get that ball out to the wingers, because obviously I've got two wingers on support and two wing backs on automatic. So that might be a way that we will cross. But also we're trying to play with an advanced playmaker in the midfield on attack. So, and a box-to-box midfielder. So it is going to be more. There's going to be definitely more risk involved in this tactic.
I've also noticed that you may not have set PIs for most of your players, or nearly all of your. Only the goalkeeper you've given him PIs.
Oh, well spotted. Well spotted. Yeah, and basically it's I like to control the distribution on that tactic, especially from goal kicks. I try to go out to the wings where we can hopefully overload. Basically, hopefully overload if we are up against a narrow formation.
Okay.
So I want Joe Hart to go out to the flanks. But also, if we are going to be playing that controlling system, then I want them to go to a centre-back. So hopefully then John Stones can build an attack from there as a ball-playing defender.
This is so cool because you've got your goalkeeper playing differently for all the systems. In a 4-1-4-1, you want your I expect the 4-1-4-1 to be more possession based because you want your goalkeeper to pass it short and distribute it to the centre backs.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. That's why I've got the half back in there as well, just so that we have three in the middle.
Okay.
And that's that core five where the ball playing defender, central defender, half back, advanced playmaker, and box to box. I'm hoping that we will go through the middle to get higher up the field.
And
then the wingers will hopefully come into play.
This is so cool. This is so cool.
Just take note of the set pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the set pieces as well. Okay, this is very interesting. All right, we've got your defense set pieces. You've got this is pretty interesting. I mean, you want to go through your defense and your attack set pieces very quickly?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay, for your corners.
Yeah,
let's look at the 4-4-2.
Yeah, you want to look at the 4-4-2? Yeah, that's no problem. I've tried to make pretty standard set pieces for all, and I think they are pretty much all the same, other than for the defensive side of the corner. I just want someone to be lurking outside the box, so hopefully we can break.
Okay.
I feel like that would help us. Except for that, we do have some man marking in there, players to get back.
You've got two players going back. You've got a player on marking zonally the near post and the center post, and you've got two players marking tall. So this is basically the same for your left and right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've tried to mirror every set piece. Tried to make sure that there's at least one striker up. I'm trying to make sure it's my fastest striker because obviously Rashford would hopefully be on that halfway line, so we can get the ball to him. And then on an attacking corner, I've just gone for two back and one lurking outside the area, just in case that ball comes loose. But we've also got one player that's going to go over and support the corner taker, just to offer that short option, just so that then we'll play with a mixed delivery and see how that plays out.
Yeah, I can see how it plays out. It's a very it's also a corner routine that's going to help you keep possession as well.
Well, fingers crossed we'll get a little bit more possession against Malta.
Okay, now let's look at something else. You've got your attacking free kick routines. Your free kick routines are very different from the default free kick routines. You've got a 4-4-2 attacking free kick routine. You've got like 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, 4 players staying back if needed.
Yeah, I've tried not to overload. I feel like I don't really need to be overdoing it at set pieces. It's just nice to have that balance there if we need people to stay back. At least those players that they will stay back if they're needed for cover purposes, but if not, they will push in the box anyway.
Because I reckon that we don't want too many. I mean, for me personally, when I play this game, it's more like they've got 4 in the wall. I don't want to have 8 players ahead of the wall, because if the ball it gets beaten up by the wall, then they've got 4 players who can run up into my half very quickly with the ball. So I'm what you might call a free kick scaredy cat. So when I'm attacking free kicks, I don't want to commit too many players into the box. I just want to commit those who can win headers, and if you can't, stay back. That's me.
That's why it's important to do that attribute sweep as well. Like obviously, if you do click on a player, it will tell you the important attributes of that.
Correct.
Of that role within the set piece setup. So it's quite nice to see that, when I've got Smalling up there, that it's got a high jump and reach, high heading, everything that I feel like could come into play, especially bravery, his decisions, they're all important attributes of him being in the box and hopefully getting on the end of it. If we need a set piece to break down Malta, that's going to be the interesting bit.
Whether we need a set piece, I hope not. But because then you'd be kicking me, you could be sacking me as the ass man very, very quickly. I'll have the shortest job in the world. Okay. Anyway, so this is gonna be cool. So we're gonna decide on the day, I guess, whatever formation they come up with as to what we're gonna hit the field with. And I think, how do you rate our chances? This is gonna be funny. I'm asking you to predict the score.
Well, the thing is, we are the favourites, so we need to play against the complacency. I made sure I did play through the friendly as well against Wales, and we actually unlocked Wales with a corner in our previous match. So I'm feeling quite happy that we've got the players in there that we could hopefully break down the Malta side. Right. As long as we can get one goal, hopefully it's early. That'll be brilliant, because then we can really set the scene. Okay. If we were to go down, mentality will change. It'll be definitely a fun ride.
Well, this is exciting. I'm looking forward to this little adventure that we are about to have with Malta. And before we round it up, I just wanted to ask you a question. Are you going to be around for the next game, or am I going to be left alone?
Oh, I think I could definitely play the next game.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
Why not? We have Lithuania in a month's time.
Okay. All right, then. Okay, so right now, I want to thank you so far for the first episode of this show. We're going to be coming back very, very quickly with the second part of this show, where we play Malta in the I think we're playing for the European World Cup qualifiers. Oh my God. I'm so bad. I don't even know what we're playing for. Okay, so we're playing the World Cup qualifiers. All I know, this is the glory, glory England. That's all I know. We're supposed to win trophies. Well... Well, I'm going to say thank everybody for joining on the show. And thank you, Nic, for your participation today. We will be back very soon. And I want to thank everybody. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. You can always look me up on Twitter @Bustthenet or addictedtofm.com, my website. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for their time on the show. So you guys have a good one. Take care. We'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.